so you're a hypnotist, show me. And I have. And that's been a lot of fun. I've done it in the street when people see me with my Hypnosis t-shirt on. That's a great way of picking up plants.
Audio, yes. Recording, audio.
Right, just before you start, Alex.
Yeah.
A couple of admin things. First of all, Miranda, don't know if she can still hear us properly or if she's got her sound set now. But I'd suggest closing everything else down on the computer. It's like to be a resource issue at your end, Miranda.
Yeah, I got my Zoom, the meeting, I started it on my laptop and that didn't work.
Right.
So now I went back to my phone again and that works. Now
right, guys, if you literally shut everything else down on your laptops, because resources will take up issues with your sound. And there's a question for you before you start, Alex, from Sean G. Is there a printout? Are there printout materials for this course?
Yeah, I'll explain all that shortly.
Right, okay. Just thought I'd deal with that now before you start safe.
If we all mute ourselves, that would help too, I think.
Yeah, we're just sitting out, so if everyone can mute themselves. I'm sure there's a way I can do it here, but I don't know how.
Literally control them, I believe, but probably best that you do it on a trust system.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, yeah. We'll go on the basis that hopefully everyone has muted themselves. If I suddenly hear anyone else, I'll just have to tell them to mute, as it were. I'll just get myself roughly central in terms of the screen here before we begin. In fact, I've got 40 seconds according to my watch till 8 o'clock, so we will start precisely on time, as will be the case tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday as well. We will have a break at around 9:30. I say around, it might be 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after, but whenever we do have the break, it'll be 15 minutes strict, and then I'll be starting on time, 15 minutes from us, going for a break, which obviously I'll tell you when that break time is, although the clue will be I'll not be stood here anymore at that moment. So, okay, I make it 10 seconds till 8 o'clock. No doubt other people will join us as they do, so I might have to tell people to be quiet at some point. Fear not, before we start, I will explain a couple of things. Firstly, if for any reason Zoom goes down, or goes down for you, or home as it were, if it goes down for me, I'll immediately try and get back on it. And if for some reason that doesn't work, I will then go to the Stay at Home and Hypnotize Facebook group and start up Facebook Live there. But this hopefully will not be necessary. We should be fine here on Zoom. Same applies for you if you're at home. If you lose it, go out and try and come back into the meeting. But do not fear, this is also being videoed not just on the Zoom platform, but by a camera that I have got actually in the room with me as well as audio that I've got in my pocket, hence you see the little mic. And the audio and video files of today will go into the group, fingers crossed, some point tomorrow's, but by about early afternoon UK time. And then Fridays will be in the group Saturday, Saturdays will be in there Sunday, Sundays will be in there some point on Monday, if that makes sense for anyone who needs to catch up. In terms of the stuff that was mentioned on the sales letter you responded to, the $297 package, which includes the video trainings, the audios, the scripts in PDF training manuals, professionally designed logos for Complete Mind Therapy and Cured, which is complete unconscious reprogramming of emotional disease and distress, together with access to getting your diplomas for those and your memberships to the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists, which incorporates the Association of Complete Mind Therapists, ACMT. All of that is in one place on selfie.com, where it retails at $297. What I've done is I put in the announcement section, so that's the pinned announcements. So when you go into the Stay at Home and Hypnotize group later on after today's training, or at any point over the next few days, click where it says announcements, and one of them says here's the link for Selfie, and it gives you a discount voucher code, which I'm not going to say on camera because there's only you that have attended the event live that will get use of that discount code, which you put in to the shopping cart on Selfie, and it reduces the price by 100% so that then you can download the zip file. So you will need free zip file software you can get on Google for free to open it. That's got all the videos, audios, PDF scripts, and all the details of how to qualify for and get your diplomas once you pass the exam that we'll do on Sunday, or once you've done the exam via the replays of the videos from Sunday. So having said all that, that's all the boring stuff. The only other boring thing I need to say up front is that in the announcement section in Stay at Home and Hypnotize the group, when you go in there after today's training, there is a limited time opportunity. Only time I'm going to mention this now today, the limited time opportunity to take basically the world's most advanced comprehensive hypnosis career success training package for therapy stage for absolutely bloody every area there is. If you've ever heard of it under some fancy name from somebody else, I guarantee you it's taught in the boot camp. It's self-explanatory, but look at the announcements in the group when you get a chance, and you'll see that you've got a chance until midnight next Wednesday to get in the boot camp for life. Most of the people on this already are in the boot camp, so if you get a chance after today's training to let group members know what a ridiculous no-brainer this is, when I say that instead of the $5,000 lifetime membership fee, anyone on this event can get in for the lowest it's ever been offered, which is a single one-time payment of only $197. So that's it. No more sales pitchy stuff from me. Let's start learning. So good evening or good morning or afternoon, depending on where in the world you are joining us. Thank you for the fact that I know that all, with us guaranteed, I had a quick look earlier on all the laptops over there. We've got people here from America, different states in America. We've got people from Canada. We've got people from Hong Kong, Singapore. I'm not sure if we've been joined yet by the gentleman from China, but somebody's booked from there. Europe, we've pretty much got covered. We've got people booked from New Zealand, Australia. Basically, the world is represented either here or by people who are members of the group who will see the replay. So it's great to be with you. Hopefully my computer won't do that too often, and I will sort it out before tomorrow. It's nothing to do with Zoom. Just ignore it. Excellent, right, so for those who do not know, those who are in the boot camp, you have to bear with me for the next 20 minutes. Some of this will be old news to you. For those who are not, which is roughly about 50%, and as a refresher for other people, why do I feel qualified to be able to teach you in effectively 12 hours, because we're having two 90-minute sessions a day for the next 4 days, which is a total of 12 hours. Why am I audacious enough to claim that even if you're a complete beginner with no prior knowledge or experience, that at the end of these 4 days you will be a confident and, more importantly, competent, safe, legal, ethical and highly effective mind therapy practitioner, and if you should so desire, with a little bit of tweaking and additional study, you could also take it over into the entertainment realm if you so desired. The reason I say with a bit of extra study for that is because there's certain things for that. As we go along, I'll teach you a lot of it, but there's certain things I physically can't because we're not together, so you'd have to get a friend round and practice certain things, but that'll become clear as we go over these things over the next few days. But the reason I believe it's possible and that I am able to do that for you is for a few reasons, okay? This is going to sound incredibly arrogant, so I apologise if it comes across and sounds that way, but the simple fact of the matter is, this is, and I've just remembered I need to look at the webcam, not at the camera that's in this room. So don't worry peeps, I will start getting the hang. I will look the right way so it looks like I'm looking at you. The reasons are as follows, okay? It's going to sound incredibly arrogant, but this is true. Don't take my word for it. You can go on my website, magicalguru.com, and there are links that will take you to places where you can check this out. And in a nutshell, it's this. The simple fact is I have evidence to prove that currently I have taught more people around the world who are currently trading and earning their living successfully as a hypnotherapist than any other living hypnosis trainer on the planet today. Fact. Sounds arrogant. I defy anyone else on the planet to disprove that, because I have got literally tens upon tens upon tens of thousands of testimonials on file that back that up, as well as the fact of proof of sales records from the past almost 30 years to millions of people around the world. I have also arguably, well not arguably, factually taught more people who are currently working professional stage hypnotists, appearing on television, appearing in 5-star cruise ship shows, in theatres and mass capacity venues around the world, including people who've had their own television shows, than any other living trainer of stage hypnosis on the planet today. Notice I stress the living part, because I'm not claiming to necessarily have taught more people than Ormond McGill did when he was alive. But there again, you've got to bear in mind that I'm currently only 44 years of age, and you know, best part of 30 years I've been doing this, a good 25 years of that I've been teaching people, but Ormond was teaching people, you know, for a good 50, 60 years. That's why I stress living hypnosis trainer before people try and pull me up on that point. So I hope that, and you can go and check this, go on magicalguru.com, click on where it's got testimonials, check out the people, they're not nameless testimonials, they're testimonials from people where there's links to their websites, you can see who they are. These include television name hypnotists and life coaches. Again, I'm telling you this not because I want to brag, not because I want to upsell you anything, because there's nothing that you need to buy at the end of these 4 days. There might be the odd thing you want to, but nothing that you need to, because this is the complete training. I'm telling you because I want you to realise that I truly, sincerely and genuinely mean what the advert said, that by the end of these 4 days you will be in a position to arguably be more competent than pretty much the vast majority of so-called hypnotherapists who weren't at some point taught by me. Yes, that means I'm categorically saying that 95% or more of hypnotherapy trainers are full of shit and are crap at what they do, and that may even include people who've taught you before. If that offends you or upsets you, now's the time to fuck off. This isn't the training for you. But if you do fuck off, you don't get a refund, because the guarantee does say you've got to attend all the training. And if you do, as much as it will upset you, some of this, as much as I'm sure some of this will rattle your cage, have you shouting at the screen going, Royal, Alex, whatever you want to call me, you're a cunt. And yes, we will use language a lot worse than that over the next 4 days. And if you don't like it, then this isn't the place for you. If you don't like it, fuck your chances of being a really competent therapist. Because let me tell you something up front before I tell you what. I am the person who's going to teach you more than anyone else ever has or ever bloody will. Well, let me tell you this. If you want results with your clients, if you want to pussyfoot around telling them that they're floating on air on clouds and that they're walking in forest and all that kind of shit, good fucking luck to you. But guess what? You're never going to have the success rates I have and my students have who use what you're going to learn over the next 4 days, because that's the shit way of doing it. The effective way of doing it, which most hypnotherapy societies and most hypnotherapy trainers will probably tell you means that what I'm teaching you is unethical or immoral. No, that's bullshit. Because my definition of ethics, and let's get this out of the way up front, is that from a therapeutic point of view, when a client comes to you, it's your job to get them the desired outcome and result they require, whether that's to quit smoking, lose weight, gain confidence, overcome a phobia or whatever, in the fastest space of time possible. In other words, if it's possible for you to do that in one session, and you're currently a therapist who strings things out over several sessions, and I'd say you're the one who's unethical and immoral. Now, you may not think that, you may be shouting at the screen, you may genuinely, sincerely think that your way's better. You're wrong, and I'll explain why over the next 4 days. And this computer's starting to fuck me off. It normally does this about 6 times and then it stops and doesn't do it again for about the rest of the day. So just ignore that. The point is that your client requires an outcome. And if it's possible to get that in one session, you should be doing that for several reasons. A, because then when they go away and their life's changed and they tell other people that their life was changed and that you only saw them for one session, it seems more, hopefully that's the last time, more miraculous, more amazing, more powerful. Okay? In other words, it makes you look better than all the other therapists who've got on their website. It's going to be 2 sessions, 3 sessions, or quite a hell lot of bloody sites say on average 6 sessions. What the fuck are they doing for 6 sessions? They must literally be sat there talking shite or mind raping their clients, getting them to repeat over and over again the traumatic shit they've gone through in their life for no particularly beneficial therapeutic purpose whatsoever, despite what they may have been taught by whoever taught them incorrectly in the first place. So, yeah, this is really going to offend a lot of you over the next few days. It's really going to... This will get sorted tomorrow because I will get my wife to sort it. So she'd probably have to wipe my computer and start it again. But anyway, look, another reason why I categorically say that as outrageous some of the stuff I'm going to teach you is the best way of doing it, is because ethically and morally, as long as you are giving the client what they want in the quickest way possible without them encountering any emotional, physical, psychological, spiritual, if you want to add that into the equation, or any other form of harm or damage of any kind, as long as they're not experiencing anything negative long term, then really, to be ethically right in helping them as quickly as you can, but not just so it's, you know, they've got a result there and then it wears off, or symptom substitution occurs where they stop smoking and they start eating too much instead, or biting their fingernails instead. No, that would be equally as bad. But using the techniques I'm going to teach you, you'll be able to get the results in 1 session the vast majority of the times, because nothing on this planet exists that works 100% of the time with 100% of the people. And anyone who tells you that is a bullshitter. But the vast majority of the time, and I will teach you the ways to increase that percentage factor so it's almost 100% of the time with almost 100% of the people. You'll be able to get results in 1 session that are long lasting, do not result in any form of symptom substitution, and do not wear off, down the line, or relapse as it gets called in certain areas of therapy. And the way you're going to do this is by using the most severe, shocking, sometimes horrible, painful, disturbing, and emotionally gut-wrenching at times visual imagery and verbal linguistics, as you will see when we come to those points, either later today or more likely tomorrow. Because today is all about foundations. Tomorrow is about more so actual techniques, although we will later on cover a couple of techniques. This is more about you've got to get into the mindset and understand where I'm coming from so that tomorrow when you learn the techniques and over the couple of days after that, I won't need to explain them, for days and days for one technique, because you'll already understand the building blocks that all of the techniques are built upon. And that is why I also say that when you've studied correctly and learned correctly, you don't need to become one of these sleepwalking fuckwits that's in hypnotherapy groups asking random questions like, oh, I've got a client booked in coming tomorrow for such XYZ problem. How do you think I should help them? If you're asking those kind of questions on groups, you're a fuckwit. Because the fact is, you know what that says? It says you weren't taught properly. Because if you were taught properly, you would know how to deal with literally anything and everything you could ever get presented with from A through to Z, or A through to Z for our American friends. Because the techniques remain remarkably similar or the same. All you need is some common sense, which sadly isn't that common, as you can see in the hypnosis groups by the number of people asking simple bloody questions like that. The level of training out there is shite. By the end of these 4 days, I'm guaranteeing you should never need to ask anyone ever how to deal with a certain problem from A through to Z, because you will have the intelligence in your own head to adapt the complete mind therapy structure that I will teach you tomorrow and over the couple of days after, or the complete unconscious reprogramming of emotional disease and distress. secured structure that I will teach you. They're the two main techniques and structures I'm going to teach you. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other techniques I've used during my career, now and again in certain circumstances, with those, you know, maybe 1 or 2% of clients that didn't get helped in the single session, because there's nothing that works, as I've already said, 100% of the time with 100% of the people. And if we've got time, we'll cover them before the end of the course. But I want to get you to a point where you are more flexible, adaptable, confident, competent, and hugely effective, both as a psychological mind therapist, okay, and as a entertainer or public speaker, if you so decide ever to go down that route, which you know, you may never have thought of doing, but by the end of these 4 days I hope you will, because I'm going to show you ways in which giving free talks to local groups, whether it's during this COVID crisis and you do it via the internet, via Zoom, Skype, Facebook Live or another platform, or it's when we're out of lockdown and you go to your local round table or whatever. I'm going to show you how to give demonstrations that are guaranteed to work 100% of the time. Yes, I'm going to teach you tricks that are guaranteed to work, so you can look like a master of mind control and hypnosis, so they're dramatically blown off their feet and they're demanding one of your business cards so that they can contact you for either entertainment, if you offer that, or for corporate training, or for stress management, or for helping with their habits. Addictions, fears, phobias, stresses, anxieties, doesn't matter what, whatever you can think of from A through to Z or Z, you will be able to deal with at the end of these 4 days. So, why am I so confident that? Well, let me tell you. By birth, my name is Alex William Smith. I was born on the 13th of August 1975 into a show business family where my parents were travelling with Gandhi's circus here in England. My mum at the time was a sharpshooting, whip cracking, knife throwing, rope spinning cowgirl, Marianne Montana, a stage name, and my dad was doing a circus clown act as Tizzy the Clown, and also a fire eating, bed of nails, ladder of daggers, yogi fakir type, and I said fakir then, I didn't swear, type act under the name The Amazing Etna. And at the age of 3 and a few months, it was the Christmas season, 1978 to be precise, I made my stage debut as Flap the Clown for a Christmas Works do. That wasn't on Gandhi's Circus. I made my circus debut on the 1979 summer season for Gandhi's, which I was 4 at the time. And that season, for some reason, I think it was money basically. My dad got offered more money. We left Gandhi's partway through the season briefly to go and do a stint on the Golden Mile in Blackpool, at a time when Blackpool in 1979 truly was the Las Vegas of the North here in England, and not the shithole it now is. You've got to remember, look back at this camera. Sorry guys at home, I keep looking at the camera in the room rather than the small little webcam. This is a new experience to me, you see, doing the seminars here. I normally have a live audience. So yeah, we were on the Golden Mile in Blackpool for the Paul Daniels, and that's Paul Daniels, the late British magician, who had the catchphrase, "You'll like it, but not a lot, but you'll like it." And a guy had set up this Paul Daniels Magic Museum on the Golden Mile in Blackpool, because Paul had just got a television series in England, and lots of television appearances were happening. His series hadn't been broadcast by then. And he hired a load of the props and artifacts from Paul Daniels, plus they were playing videos in there. So you walked around, looked at the stuff you'd perhaps seen Paul using on TV. There were videos of what he did on screens. And then there'd be a magician in there who demonstrates some tricks and sell them to you. And it was all a monetary making exercise, but they'd employed my dad and me for the front, to work the front as they call it, to draw in a crowd from the street by giving a spiel, by attracting the crowd. And we did that successfully, and I spent all the money that I was earning with the guy who was selling magic in there, that in later years I found out the guy who had that concession was a guy called Mark Lewis, who's currently residing in Canada, but he's Scottish originally, but he's worked in Ireland, England, around the world, but he currently lives in Canada. And he's made his career massively from selling these magic decks of cards that especially manufactured in a way that enable you to do numerous tricks, called a Svengali deck. And I bought one of these, and as well as getting obviously some tuition from the guy who sold it me, and who later turns out it was Mark Lewis, I was fortunate enough to get input and advice from Mr. Daniels himself, who was doing shows in Blackpool at the time, and obviously had a financial link to the project because he was renting them the stuff. So at a very early age I was learning about sleight of hand trickery, magic. The hand is quicker than the eye. Ow! Bloody hell, it is. I didn't see that coming. Comedy doesn't work as well just to a camera, you know. It's better when you've got an audience and you can see their face. There's another lesson for you. Anyway, the point is I was learning about this stuff at an incredibly young age. And also was observing and taking in like a sponge, as all kids do from the ages of 0 to 7, the formative years. We're kind of like a blank canvas, and we take in everything, whether we're consciously aware of it or not. And that quite often is the root cause of a lot of issues that your clients will have. Remember that, because that's one of the key secrets. Most of their fuck-ups have their root in something that happened before they were 7 years of age, generally speaking. There are exceptions, we'll cover them later on, but generally speaking, remember that golden rule. So, I was learning about sleight of hand and trickery, how to, with words, verbal linguistics, distract people's attention so they didn't see me perhaps remove a card from the deck and place it in my pocket. Or using body language so that my gestures would make them look over here, but not in a suspicious, hey look, there's Father Christmas kind of way that parents do to the kids. No, in a very subtle, so the gentleman over there, what card would you like? And everyone would naturally look over there at that gentleman that I've just pointed at and asked the question and I'm looking at, allowing me with my left hand to put most of the playing cards in my pocket or whatever other dirty work I wanted to do. So I was learning these principles that one action can hide another, or one statement can hide something that you're doing as well. It can be verbal or non-verbal. All of this will become abundantly more clear as the days go on, that I am actually teaching you the key secrets now. You just maybe won't realise how valuable and important these are until you get other pieces of the jigsaw. So, in the circus I was also learning the fact that some of the things that look really, really, really dangerous were actually relatively safe if they were done in the right manner. Once you knew the secret, it was like, yeah, there's some skill and practice gone in, don't get me wrong, but in actual fact, as long as you do what you practice, you're pretty damn safe, and it just looks incredibly dangerous to the audience. Whereas some of the stuff that looked relatively safe, one little slip and you could actually be dead. And people have died over the years with things that seemed relatively safe. And that's why the public and the media kind of go, we don't understand what happened. People in the industry obviously know, bloody hell, that unexpected thing occurred, but they've always known that it's dangerous. So it's inverted. Not everything. Some things are genuinely dangerous, such as standing against a board when knives are thrown at you. For the person stood there, it's dangerous. But generally speaking, things are inverted. That's another key here. Things are not always as they appear. I want you to start thinking the way I do, because then it'll make more sense tomorrow, the day after and the day after. That's what today is about, getting you into my head. So I was growing up realising that you could say things and distract attention, you could do things and distract attention, or misdirection as it's called in the fine art of legerdemain. Magic, conjuring. And in later years I would find that the same is very true for so-called hypnotherapy, stage hypnosis, whatever. They're just labels. Psychological talking therapies or psychological manipulation entertainment techniques would be a fairer description of what's really going on, as you'll see over the coming days. So I grew up, and at an early age I went through those things that I said before, from the ages of 0 to 7, formative years, we get scarred or we get empowered by what goes on in our environment. We're all products of our environment. As Sigmund Freud, or you may know him better as Sigmund Freud, once famously said. And I was getting bullied because my mum decided when I was about 5 and a bit that she wanted us to stop travelling with the circus full time. My dad would carry on travelling, and that I would just go in the summer holidays, most weekends and stuff like that, and perform with my dad, but go to a normal school because she came from a normal background. Whereas my dad literally did run away from a normal background to join the circus. Yeah, not a joke, he genuinely did. So I went to a normal school, and obviously I was the odd one out. I was the circus clown's son, and indeed, you know, I was in the Daily Mirror newspaper at the age of 6 with the headline, Alex the Circus 6 hit. And if you look at my website, magicalguru.com, click on the resume page, there's pictures of me there, and that article's there. Obviously, when that went in, the school I was in at the time, I started getting bullied by the teachers, not the kids, the teachers, because ultimately they were jealous. I know that now, but at the time, you know, parents telling you that, oh, they're attacking you because they're jealous, it doesn't help. It doesn't help in the slightest. And that nonsense about sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Bullshit. Names can do more harm than physical attacks, especially during those formative years, 0 to 7, when the brain is like a sponge, like a blank canvas. It can set, if you like, the memory banks of your personal laptop computer. What programs are running in there are kind of installed before you're 7 years of age, generally, by what you've experienced, observed, and what goes on in your environment, and the way you end up feeling about yourself, which is all very, very, very important, as will become clearer as we go along. So I was getting bullied by the teachers because they were jealous of the fact that I was earning money, good money, as a paid circus clown. You could argue on a per-hour basis. Well, not argue, it'd be fact. Factually speaking, on a per-hour basis, I got paid way more than they did. I didn't go around saying that, but you know, these things got mentioned by the media and stuff. So, you know, I got attacked. We then, because it got so bad, moved to a different town, and I went to a different school. And here, thank God, the teachers were fantastic. They were absolutely fantastic through the rest of primary school. Unfortunately, as I appeared in the newspapers, on the local radio, or on television and stuff growing up, the kids at that school were the ones who then started to bully me. And I'm not going to dwell on this. If you want to learn more, go to the resume page on my website, magicalguru.com, and there's an interview there about all this. But I did try to take my own life shortly before coming to the end of primary school by laying down in the main road that was incredibly busy. And fortunately, what seemed like forever, but was probably only a matter of 30 seconds, which can seem like an eternity when there's nothing going on. I got bored and fed up and thought there's no traffic coming, so I stood up, and it was pitch black at night, and I walked back towards the pavement, and suddenly trucks and cars started speeding by, and it was like literally a matter of a split second. Otherwise I wouldn't have been here. So later on, whether it's today or tomorrow, when I categorically tell you that I'm speaking from direct first-hand experience, that even in the most extreme of circumstances, what I'm going to tell you works and are the underlying keys to why and how these things work. Just remember, I've been there. I've had numerous near fatal life-death situations around the age of 4 and a bit, approaching 5 this year. Was ripped off by a puma. Yes, a puma as in a wild cat that was on the circus. It was my fault. I hid under a caravan playing hide and seek, and the lion tamers, carefully chained up, baby puma attacked me, and had I not been found in the nick of time, I would have been dead. But to this day I've got claw mark scars on my back, all down the back of my ear, on my head as well. Lucky to be alive. Don't tell you that for sympathy, I tell you because the fact is that anything I talk about that appears flippant later on today or tomorrow or Saturday or Sunday, If I talk about things related to death, suicide, or anything like that, yes, I will do in what may appear a very offensive, a very flippant manner. And some of you that will upset and piss off. And frankly, I don't give a fuck for two reasons. One, because the fact it will upset you or shake you internally, emotionally, rattle your cage, will mean you will remember absolutely, positively and permanently everything that I'm going to teach you. You might not like remembering it at first, but when you remember it in that moment you need to use it, and you use it and you find it works exactly as I've guaranteed you it will, then you'll suddenly go, and any of those feelings of I feel uncomfortable about that will just fly out the window like that, and you'll feel completely at ease and confident and calm and happy to continue using those techniques, because you will know with every nerve, fibre, tissue and muscle in your body, from the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers and everywhere in between, that they work, and they work for the good reason. And one of those good reasons is because they will emotionally shake you to the core, but with a positive outcome, and more importantly with a positive intent. My intent over the next 4 days, today and the next 3, is to teach you the essence of what has enabled me for the past 30 years, since the age of 14, coming there in a minute, to have an incredibly successful career. You're all capable of this as well, especially when you know how I did it, and you will do. So, I got bullied then by the kids, tried to take my life. I then grew to resent being a circus clown, so I'd already started to learn more and more about magic and sleight of hand. So I started to rebel against my dad. I refused to perform as a circus clown, and I started doing magic and illusion, rabbits out of hats, producing doves, magic tricks. Because that way, I was not doing what my dad had forced me into when I was young, because I really didn't have a choice when I was tiny, but I was still performing. And the key to that was, by that point, I'd become conditioned, I'd associated the sound of an audience clapping, or laughing at the right times, ha 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 ha, laughter at the right times or clapping, that appreciation, as making me feel worthy. And that had become what would be called in therapy anchored. An anchored connection, linked together. Audiences laugh and applaud. I've done good, I feel good, I'm worthy. So I still had that need, because I was getting bullied, so I felt unworthy and worthless in that environment. So I needed, and this links in with a thing called state dependent memory, learning and behaviour, SDMLB. State dependent memory, learning and behaviour. And that is that, you know, the environment, the context, everything around you when you do a certain thing is all part of the sensory experience that gets logged into your memory banks, your computer. And they become the triggers, the activating agents, the buttons that get pressed that cause you, for example, to crave nicotine or alcohol or drugs, because those triggers come up again that were there. So it's all well and good, you know, that's why certain therapies don't work for people. It's because, yes, they may have dealt with all the conscious shit, but the actual triggers and stuff haven't been dealt with. The things that those people only experience or react to when they're in that kind of environment or in that state of mind, of memory, of learned, conditioned behaviour. You've got to get your clients into the same kind of emotional state, memory state, learned state, anchored state, conditioned state, call it what you will, as that which caused the problems, in order to positively, permanently and rapidly break down all the connections in a way that they can be replaced with positive things, so that the person no longer has that issue. That may sound very simplistic, but you'll see as we go along that it is truly that simple, and I'll show you how to do it when we get into complete mind therapy and cured. So, you may have also guessed I keep going off on tangents. That is not so much me doing what is known in NLP as magic stories or nested loops or anything like that, where you start off one story and then you go off on a tangent to another, so people are left wondering about the answer to this one, and then you stack up a load of them and then you go back at the end and give the answers to them all, so that person, you, the audience, gets a feeling of closure and satisfaction of, oh yeah, I know that now, yeah, that makes sense. I'm not doing it for that purpose. There will be elements of that taking place, but that's not why I'm doing it. It's just purely and simply that I go off on one. But we will get, all of it will link together by the end of that, I assure you. So, about the age of 14, well, I was a little bit before the age of 14, I saw an advertisement, I'll come back to that actually, because I survived the suicide attempt, and I thought I need to do something to sort my head out. And I was going in the adult library by this time, because the kids' magic books were pretty shit, and I'd far advanced them. And where the magic books were in the sports and pastime section of the library, right next to them on the shelf, were the self-help and personal development books. And I saw a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's an excellent book, but don't take it too literally, especially not if you're a kid. Because let me tell you, using those techniques, taking them too literally, as they're portrayed and taught in the book, as a kid, it gets you attacked and bullied more. And if you go into a pub and take it too literally and start calling somebody by their first name, every other bloody sentence, calling them by their first name, it comes across as you're being overly too familiar, friendly, creepy, and you're likely to get punched in the face. So you have to use a certain amount of common sense. But I did read that book, it didn't particularly help. But then I saw a book on hypnotherapy there, and that's where I learnt about MLQA, an amazing guy who devised the power of positive affirmations. Well, he didn't devise it, they've existed since biblical days and before, but you know, that's where he carved his niche, as it were. And he's best known probably for the saying, day by day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. And the idea that saying that to yourself 3 times when you wake up first thing in the morning, when you haven't fully woken up, you've just opened your eyes, so you're still arguably in that halfway between awake and asleep state, arguably hypnosis, 3 times during the middle of the day, and 3 times just before you go to sleep when you're a bit tired. Doing that on a regular daily basis would reprogram your personal laptop computer with amazing results. And studies have been done to prove that that is indeed the case. But one other thing he put across is what they call in NLP, what they say as, what resists, persists. You get more of what you focus on. MLQA, this was coined it as the law of reversed effort. So for example, Yoda. It's a good example. He says, I'm not going to do a Yoda impression, because frankly I can't. But he says, do or do not. There is no try. Unless, and Yoda's right, if you try to do something, you're likely to fail because your mind wraps around that idea that you're going to try to do it, which means you're giving yourself the suggestion and entertaining the possibility of failure. Which is why you will see stage hypnotists go on the count of 3, just try to separate your hands. The more you try, the more they stick, lock, glue, weld, cement together. It's because that word try gives the suggestion, the possibility, the doubt, the thought that they could fail. And that seed's planted, grows and becomes reality for the majority of people. So I thought I'd try this out. The next time the school bully, and this was at high school, came up and pinned me against the wall by my throat with one hand and was about to hit me, I went, whoa, hang on a minute. I said, hang on a minute. Don't hit me yet, but when you do, make sure it's bloody good, okay? This time, try and be better than you've been when you've hit me over the previous days. Go on, just try and do it now. Because I figured I had sod all to lose, because that tiny bit of me thought, well, if it doesn't work, I was going to get hit anyway, so what? And he ended up just looking at me with this like, what the fuck? That's what I imagine his internal chatter was saying. What the fuck is this nut job going on about? And he suddenly just kind of let go of me, went off and turned and then looked at me again weird like, has that really just happened? Told me to fuck off and just never attacked me again. Genuinely true story. There were other people who did. that it didn't work on quite so well, so I'm not telling you it works 100% of the time. But the point is, in certain contexts, when you've got absolutely fuck all to lose, you may as well try something. And you know what, when you do, and you do it with conviction and confidence, and with a literal, who gives a fuck? Literally get to the point where it's either going to work or it doesn't. So you're not at all personally scared. You're not at all personally worried or anxious or concerned. And that will come across in your body language. You'll be chilled, relaxed, non-verbally. Your clients or your stage volunteers will think, this guy really doesn't give a shit. He knows he's good. It's like, it's an unwritten vibe. You could argue it's an energy, if you want to get into the lucky juju, mystical, new age, tree huggy type shite, which we will at some point. So yeah, remember that. And when I saw the power of that, I thought, I want to learn more about hypnosis properly. And my logic, because as I was brought up through the education system, or as it should be better known, the indoctrination system, because that's what happens at schools. They don't really educate you as such. They teach you to learn stuff so that when you do exams, you repeat the answers they want you to do in the way they want you to do, so you've learned to obey authority figures. That's essentially what's really happening, but that's at the time what I believed was the right thing to do. So I figured at that time that I needed a piece of paper. I needed a certificate of some kind. Ooh, on my wall. Something that said I knew what I was doing. That's what I thought. So, I saw in a British publication called the Exchange of Mart newspaper an advert for the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists, the APHP. And quickly, for those who are thinking, that sounds familiar, that sounds like the Society Terence Watts of the Essex Institute of Clinical Hypnosis in England runs. Well, let me tell you, he's a copyright thief. Yes, he's got a trademark on APHP. That's only because I haven't had it revoked from him yet, because I'm not the complete cunt everyone thinks I am. However, if he ever bothers to send me another solicitor's letter, I will have his trademark revoked, because I've got on file from the mid-90s a copy of his cheque where he paid the Mindcare Organisation UK Limited for my correspondence complete mind therapy course, qualified in this from the Mindcare Organisation and yours truly, and became a member of the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists as legally owned, copyright-wise, by me. But it wasn't set up by me, it was set up by a guy called Dr. Brian Howard. And as I say, he had an advert in the Exchange of Mart business opportunity section. So I sent off my stamped addressed envelope to get the prospectus. I got it, I looked, and this was in early 1989. I was still 13, about 13 and a half at the time. And the correspondence course prospectus came, and it said that for the princely sum of £125 United Kingdom sterling, so current exchange rate, as we do this in May 2020, that's roughly about 140 United States dollars, but this was back in 1989 to put it in perspective, okay? So that was a lot of money by anyone's, reasonable amount of money by anyone's standards, and certainly, as I was only 13 and a bit, should have been what I was earning money from magic shows and stuff. So I sent off the 125 quid. And I promise you, some of you now are probably sat there drinking your lager. Reminds me, I'll have a sip. Cheers, everybody. Or your coffee or your whatever, thinking, when the fuck will he stop talking about himself and start teaching us? Well, if you are thinking that, let me tell you, you're a fuckwit and you need to wake up, start listening and start paying attention. Because every single word I said from the start of us starting at 8 o'clock, every single word is being said for a purpose, and that one purpose is for you to end up knowing the key secrets, techniques and reasons of how and why CMT cured, and indeed any form of psychological talking mind therapy, under any fancy title, brand it may be given by anyone else, I will have taught you by the end of the 4 days how and why it works. And if you pay attention, you'll start seeing the bits of the jigsaw slotting into place, or you will. So, What happened? I'm looking at this camera again, I want to look at this one. I apologise people at home, this is new to me. I normally play to one camera with a red light on in a TV studio. If there's several TV cameras, you switch to the one with the red light on at the time that the red lights change, generally in the live studio scenario. That I've done a load of over the years. Again, that sounds like bragging, it's not, as you'll see as time goes on. It's because I've done these things that I can tell you the truth. The fact is, most of the hypnotherapy trainers out there's a few exceptions, such as Tom Silver in America, a good friend of mine, who's done hundreds and hundreds of TV shows like I have around the world. There's a few trainers that fall into that category, but most of them haven't. And if they've not done TV shows, if they've not consistently hypnotised people on the radio in the circumstances that are demanded by that, if they've not consistently had to do stuff for newspapers and magazines when they're put on the spot, if they've not consistently had to do stage shows or public demonstrations from corporate blue chip companies for people like Richard Branson's Virgin Group, which I've done in Barbados and around the world, or down to the lowest little round table in your local town. If they've not done it, how can they truly, and they do, they'll stand there and say they're trying to teach you, but what they're teaching you is stuff they've learnt out of books or from other people's courses. They don't have a fucking clue, most of them, what they're talking about, because they've never been there and done it. Most hypnotherapy trainers, most hypnotherapists sadly couldn't even hypnotise this way out of a fucking wet paper bag with a room full of people who'd taken a load of sleeping pills and were in lovely warm double beds at the time with eye masks on. They wouldn't have a fucking clue, most of them. That's why you see it in the groups. I will regularly slag off people. And if you're offended by it at home, that's probably because you fall into that category. Hopefully by the end of these 4 days, you won't be upset by the things I'm saying, because you won't fall into that category. That's the positive point. I'm looking at that camera again. I will get over that by the end of today's session. So, what arrived through the post? I'll tell you what arrived for my £125 sterling, roughly 140 US dollars, back in 1989, around March 1989 I recall it being. I got the grand total of three, oh yes, three, not one, not two, but three 90-minute audio cassette tapes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. The younger ones amongst you may not remember what an audio cassette tape is. You have only ever seen compact discs and MP3 digital downloads. But cassette tapes, they were about this big, and you had to put them in a cassette player machine. Anyway, there were three of them, 90 minutes long each, so that's like the 2 sessions we're doing today and the first one tomorrow. So three of the sessions, whereas over these 4 days you're getting 8 90-minute sessions, which means you're getting almost triple what I had on those 3 90-minute audio cassette tapes. That's very important for the reason that'll become clear in a minute. I also got with it a 67-page A4, so A4 UK size paper is about yon big in relation to my head. 57 pages of that was typed in double-spaced, roughly, I think it was about 14-point text. So, in truth, it would have probably fitted on about 50 sheets of A4 had it been spaced differently. Yeah? I listened to the 4.5 hours of audio from those 3 audio cassettes. I read the 67 pages. I then completed the exam paper, which conveniently had been sent with everything, and they didn't ask for the tapes and the book to be sent back first. So I copied the answers out of the book or listened to the tapes again to make sure that I got the right answers. I then sent this back. I lied about my age, said I was 18, because even I was intelligent enough to know that if I said I was 13 at the time when I got it, they'd go, no. And a few weeks later, that was towards the end of March, I think I submitted it towards the end of April when I got round to it. About the end of May, I got notified that successfully I'd passed. And now I was a member of the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists, and also the Association of Professional Stage Hypnotists, because I forgot to mention that this course taught you stage hypnosis and hypnotherapy with just 3 90-minute audio cassettes and a 67-page A4 manual. I kid you not. So I got my certificates. Very much Wizard of Oz style, you know, this wasn't the one that came, but I got a certificate, so I'm like, oh, brilliant, I've now got this. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Suddenly, because I've got the piece of paper, I've now been given the seal of approval by this perceived authority figure, the trainer. So I must know what I'm doing, so I can be confident to go out there. Now, I had a little bit of an advantage, I admit, because I was already a performer, and I'd already done magic and had dealings with the media. But what I ultimately did, well, the first thing I did was that as soon as I hit my 14th birthday, I contacted Brian Howard, and I said, hey Brian, I've got a confession, I lied, I'm not 18, I was 13 and a bit, I'm now 14, yeah, sorry, what are we going to do about this? And ultimately he got back to me and he said, well, the fact is you passed the exam. He spoke to me at length on the phone, he said, you seem to know what you're doing, and he sent me a new certificate, and that one had my proper date of birth on, which you can see in the Diplomas album that you can get to by clicking on photos on my Facebook profile, facebook.com/Alex-the-Hypnotist, and he sent me one with my correct date of birth and age on, and I became the youngest ever member of the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists. And I was so impressed by the company, as I will explain very shortly, that in later years I literally bought it like Victor Kayam did with the razors. Well, I bought the rights, and by the mid-90s I owned the copyright on the Association Professional Hypnotherapist and Parapsychologist and the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists, because he had two uses for the acronyms, the letters. And that concludes that nested loop, which we're not doing, but it concludes one if we were. So yeah, now I'm a diploma-bearing hypnotherapist. So what is any sane 14-year-old who's lied about their age going to do, but now being given permission to carry on? They're going to put away the diploma that says they're 14 on it, and take the one that says they're 18, and go and lie to the local and regional media to start with. Of course, because I knew that even though APHP were happy, and that may have been a nice publicity stunt to say I was the youngest member, I thought 14 was a bit too young. Had I been 16, I would have gone for the youngest member publicity angle, but instead I went for the local hypnotherapist, local boy, just turned 18, has become a diploma-bearing hypnotherapist. He's one of the youngest in the country because he started studying before he was even 18. Because I wanted a bit of credibility with the readers. I wanted them to think that it was feasible that I'd be able to help them, because their perception, the client's perception, is the most important thing by far. If they believe that you are the person who will change their life as quickly as that, then you are the best person for that. Simple as. So your job is more of selling them the belief, an idea and reality that you are the person who can pull that light bulb string or click your fingers and change their life. And when they truly, sincerely, genuinely believe that and buy into it on all levels, psychologically, emotionally and financially, then 99% of your job's done. Honestly. Now, I went to the local newspaper. I took my diploma with me. It wasn't this one, but I took one with me so that they could take a picture of me holding it all cheesily like, eee, which I know is a shit picture, but it's the kind of cheese that local newspapers like. And I said to them, look, I want to offer your readers a free hypnotherapy session. Free. For the first 50 readers that call me up. And I gave them my telephone number. They ran an article with a picture. The picture is often the story. That's a key phrase. Any story that's got a picture with it is more likely to get in. If you live locally to the paper, then it's a local interest story. If you're offering something for their readers that costs them nothing but benefits their readers, it's more likely to get in as well. So they ran this, and my phone rang red hot for several days. And I know what you're thinking. How do you make any money when you're doing it for free? Well, the answer is that back then, I was following the model that was in the APHP manual, which was the idea of doing 2 sessions. Okay? I only do 1 session these days, but I'm telling you how I started so you know the full picture, full disclosure. was 2 sessions. So when they rang, I would say, yeah, excellent. Oh, you want to claim the free session that you've seen in the Rochdale Observer or Hayward Advertiser? Rochdale Express, it actually was the first paper that did it. Done this scam with various papers. Sorry, not scam. Marketing and publicity promotional exercise, if you prefer those words, if they sit better with you. So the people would ring up, I say, yeah, of course you're entitled to your free session. Now, it's normally, and back then, remember, it was 1989. I'd say that a session is normally £50 sterling. Now, to put this in perspective, most hypnotherapists in the Rochdale area back in 1989 were charging about £30 to £35 UK, United Kingdom sterling a session. I'd already learned from magic marketing stuff that if you priced yourself higher, it meant 2 things. Number 1, you had perceived value that there must be a reason why you're charging more, which must mean you're better. And number 2, it means that you can offer discounts and make people feel they're getting a saving. Whereas if you start off too low, you've got nowhere to go, have you? So I said, yeah, sessions are normally £50. However, that's £50 and we have to have 2 of them, so that's £100 total. However, you've got your free session that was offered by the paper,